like to do in this video is to share with you how you're going to be developing pictures from start to finish. So after you've developed a roll of film, you've inserted them into this plastic slider here, and you're going to decide which one you think is going to be the best for you to work from. Now you can use the light table that I have in the other room to look through your film using a magnifying glass to see which one you think is best. So after you've done that, you're going to take it very carefully without touching the actual part of the film that you want to print from. Just on the sides, pull that film out and take out what's called the negative carrier within your enlarger. So the negative carrier is a way to hold the film flat and in place where you need it to let light shine through onto the photo paper. So you'll open up the little negative carrier this way, and you'll see that there's spots right there that the film is going to sit right within. So you'll take that film with the shiny side facing up, otherwise you'll have your picture be backwards. But just like with the photo paper, with the shiny side facing up, close that up. You'll see that I keep blowing on the film here because I'm seeing some specks of dust. We take this little lens cloth, and while it's in the negative carrier, we wipe away any dust that we see. So this can be something that if you're really concerned about a lot of dust, you just bring this out into the light. So bring the film out and the negative carrier onto the light, and we can take a look at it in the light. But it's very easy to see when you have normal light on. That negative carrier here, on the inside of the enlarger spot, you're going to find two small notches that fits right within. Okay. Then you'll close the head down so that way you can lock the film in place. This is sometimes something that's good to do with two hands, so that way you can keep your film flat and lower the headed enlarger down. That weight of the light on top is going to be something that keeps that film nice and flat. So the first thing we need to do is get our image in complete focus. So you'll see that I've got the light turned on the enlarger, and it's shining the image right down onto the surface here. I'm going to use this film grain enlarger, which is kind of like a magnifying glass, to set down on the surface of one of the parts of the image where I've got some lines that are really easy to see. So you actually want to do this right on part of the picture that's in focus when you were taking it with the camera, not in like the depth of field that's blurred section of the picture. So I'll get that in place. Then on the side of the enlarger, I'm going to focus the image until it looks real crisp through this magnifying glass. So I hold this up real close. At the same time as looking through, I change the focus of the enlarger until that is in crisp focus. So that's going to be an assured way that when I do my prints, the picture is in focus. I won't want to change that knob on the top until I put a new negative in. The next thing I'd like to do is describe to you how you create a test strip. Test strips are how you understand the amount of time you need to let the light hit the photo paper to have it turn the darkness that you want. So this is what a test strip looks like, and you're going to see that there's variations of light. It's really not dark at all in some sections, and it gets darker and darker and darker as the test strip moves higher along. How this is created is that we use the photo paper flat on the surface of where our print is after we've got a focus, and you're going to first cover most of it except a small section, and you'll turn the light on for a second, turn it off, move the mat board, turn it on again and off, and keep doing the same for 1 second increments as you move your way down the photo paper. In the end, after it goes through the developing process, you should be able to see some real defined lines about how dark the image will appear based on the number of seconds that you've shown the paper with light. I'm going to cover most of it except a small little section, and then I'm going to turn my enlarger on for 1 second increments. Move the mat board, move the mat board, and you work your way all the way down the test strip. So you've got a lot of variations of light to know exactly what you need. It's just doing a test to see what works best. The first step is the developer. So I'll take that test strip, Put it right down in. And it'll be pretty easy for you to tell if you've got things somewhat correct. Is that you should start to be able to see the image within the first few seconds of putting it in. And I can already tell that I've got a good amount of light because the image shows up and then it turns almost completely dark. So this is going to be a good test strip to work from. If you don't have it where it's real light and then gets darker and darker and darker, you know that you've done your test strip incorrectly. So it may mean on your enlarger that you need to adjust the aperture of the lens to let more or less light through. If it's totally white and there's nothing, that means you need to open the aperture up, so go with a lower number to let more light come through. If it's all really, really dark, that means that you need to increase the number of the aperture so that way you have less light coming down on the photo paper when you do your test strip. If you really don't have like a good variation here, then you know that it's going to be difficult for you to make a decision about how much time you need for your print. So I'm going to work this through the whole developing process, and then we'll look at that to create our actual print. We're going to take a look at that test strip now to see what the right amount of time is for a print. So what I want you to do is look at this and count it out with me. So this is no light, that little strip there. Then we have 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, all the way up until it's way too dark. So judging by the amount of time and how dark the image is appearing, you also have to think about what it's supposed to look like. So I know that I was photographing a building that was stone on a cloudy day, and it looked pretty much like this. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3 seconds into the exposure. I might be leaning between 3 and 4 for this picture, just because I kind of like how the contrast looks in this 4-second column. So that's going to be how I'll know how much time to use. The next thing we're going to do is put our photo paper in place within the frame. You don't want to move the frame at all after you've got your image focused, so it's real important to just leave that alone. We don't want to change the height of the enlarger or anything like that either. But to get photo paper to fit in the frame just right, so that way you have even borders like you'll see in this image, you need to get it placed in where it's pushed up against the bumpers within the frame. So I'm going to show you using this piece of paper in pure light so it's easy for you to see. Right along the top edge, there's 2 small little divots that the paper will be pushed against. So I'll start by pushing the paper up against those. Then on the side, there's 2 that it will push against. And you want to make sure that it's touching on both the side bumpers and the top bumpers at the same time. Then what you may find is that you want to hold the paper in place while you close the frame down. Shiny side facing up towards where the light is going to be hitting the photo paper. With that in place, I know that I'm going to have nice even borders on my picture, so that way when I do my exposure, it's all... Alright, so first we're going to get our photo paper in place. So remember how to do that by pushing the paper up against the top 2 edges and then up to the side on both sides here. I'm going to hold that paper in place while I close this on down. Now I'm going to use the test strip amount of time to create my print. So count it off. 2, 1, 1000, 2, 1000, 3, 1000 off. So I'm going to fully submerge the photo paper, and then I tip the edge of the developing tray to make sure that my chemicals are fully over the whole print. And already you can start to see that print appear right within the frame here. And I can already tell this is going to be a good exposure time. You can see that the image looks really clear. We've got a good contrast, the right amount of dark and the right amount of light in the image. Some of this takes a little bit of practice, but I'm sure you'll get the hang of it and it will turn out to be real awesome. So I work this way through the whole process again, 2 minutes, 1 minute for the stop, and then 4 minutes for the fix.